Welcome to this November bullet journal setup, fall edition. My fellow farmers among you will recognize from the music, this month's theme will be fall, as you can experience it in Stardew Valley. In preparation for this, I printed out a few stickers, such as fall crops, or the Junimo hut with a bunch of little Junimos, these cute little guys that help you harvesting. One central motif in Stardew Valley is also the calendar that is different in every season, and I adjusted the fall calendar to November. I spiced it up a bit in the creepy Halloween style, and of course I kept all the birthdays of the characters living in the Pelican Town community. Before we get into setting everything up, leave a like to help fight the algorithm. In December and January last year, I was a bit sick, and during that time I really got into Stardew Valley, and I really enjoyed playing it, and I just thought I want to bring this to my bullet journal, so I had the idea to... Actually, my boyfriend, I think, had the idea to represent every Stardew Valley season, every season from the game, in my bullet journal. So I started this quest in spring, because the year in Stardew Valley always starts with spring. And in April I had a Stardew Valley spring setup. The summer setup was for July, and now I am doing fall. And of course you can see all the previous Stardew Valley setups that I made on my channel. I will link them down below for you. This header is kept in the Stardew Valley font. The name of the game is written in this style. I tried to emulate it as good as I could, and I used the black as well as different colors of brown to sort of try to create the structure of the wood that the letters consist of. If in the game you click on the header a bunch of times, some Junimos come out. So that's why I also decided to add a little Junimo to the top here. It's cute. I recommend to try that out and click on the header a few times. So besides the Stardew Valley fall calendar that I will have on the left side of the spread, I also added a list style calendar because the Stardew Valley one is cute and it looks cool and it is in the theme and everything. But you can consider that more like a title page or a cover page. It gives a good overview of the month, of the weeks, of the structure of the month. Maybe I can write in 1 or maximum 2 events per day, but it's not really enough space for me, so I also added this list style calendar on the right hand side of the spread. Of course the fall colors have to be orange and yellow and all of these colors, so I thought I picked some nice warm bright colors. Stardew Valley is not a game in pastel, it's like bright colors. I spared you from watching my struggle of gluing in this calendar correctly, and the empty space on the top and the bottom is for my monthly goals. I call them quests because in Stardew Valley these things are called quests, and a master task list for things that might take longer to complete or that I cannot allot to a specific day or week yet. And of course, since this is fall, I had to use the little fall icon, a yellow leaf on orange background in the top as well. After the monthly overview spread comes a weekly overview spread. For a long time I used to set up weekly spreads with one double spread for each week, but a few months ago I started to change up things a bit. So now I have this one spread, double spread, for all the weeks of the month. So in October, it's going to be 4 weeks on this spread. This is helpful for a general overview over the week and also for pre-planning. So if I know something that I will have to do next week or in 2 weeks, I can already write it into this weekly overview spread. And it is very flexible which elements you would like to include for each week, right? If you want to focus on a certain habit in a certain week, you can, for example, also add a weekly habit tracker. I didn't do this time. The most important things that I like to use are events, notes, and a little master to-do list for this week. Of course, I had to mark the events with that little purple flag with the red dots that is used in the in-game calendar to signify whenever an important festival or something is going on in Pelican Town. On the top, I displayed a bunch of fall crops. That is, crops that you can grow and harvest during fall. And also the forageables, so things that you can find when foraging through the town and through the forests. And on the bottom, I thought I'd create something like a field, so you can see the growing stages of wheat, which you can harvest during fall. And later I added another small wheat field on the left-hand side. In the center there you can see myself, Farmer Joe, who inherited the farm called Utopia from her granddad. So that's actually me from the game, my little avatar, and in spring and summer I like to have this little daisy in the hair. And next to me, my loyal companion, Mr. Buttons. And for each week, I glued in a villager who has their birthday in this week. Sometimes it's more than one villager in a week, but I just chose my preferred characters and glued them in as well. Marnie, for example, you can get anything to care for your animals from her store. Robin on the bottom is very important because she's the carpenter and she makes literally everything that you want to build. The purple-haired Abigail, who always wins. She always wins the egg hunt. I can never win. Honestly, I never managed to beat her. And for the first week, I put Elliot, who is like a writer and an intellectual artist and so on. With long hair, of course. Next up is a spending log, which is an indispensable spread for me. Since this is the spread for all the numbers and data and everything, I decided to put a time display from Stardew Valley in the top right corner, which is always the corner on the screen where the time display is situated. And it doesn't only give you the information that it is fall season, which is the yellow leaf on orange. It also gives you the weather with the sun. It gives you the time on the side from morning to evening. And on the bottom, it also gives you the money that you own. So I thought it would be a good fit for this spread. Other than that, this spread has a lot of room to write in all sorts of incomes or expenses. It has room for notes. It has room for a summary at the end of the month. For the font of the header, I tried to emulate the style in which notifications and information in Stardew Valley is written. And I also added the sign around it, which is just typically the way how information is displayed in Stardew Valley. Always use 2 colors of brown to make the font pop a bit more, with first a darker brown and then a drop shadow with a lighter brown. Since this is the spooky season, I decided to give the setup a little bit of a spooky touch as well. So during the end of fall in Stardew Valley, there is a festival called Spirit's Eve, and it is basically a sort of Halloweenish festival, right? You have all these pumpkins, these carved pumpkins, and you can get the rare crow, this scarecrow that looks like a witch. and you have to go through a maze where you encounter spiders and spooky, scary things and stuff. So I tried to add a touch of the spookiness to this whole setup. Of course, that makes a bit more sense in October, since Halloween is in October. But when I set up my bullet journal for October, I was traveling, so I didn't have the chance to do all of this, so now I'm just going to do it for November. The last spread of the setup is the first page of the running dailies. As mentioned earlier, I got rid of weekly spreads a couple of months ago, and instead now I have the weekly overview spread that I set up earlier, and then I do daily logging on a daily basis. That way, if I don't need a day, I could skip a day. Also, I can take as much room as I want for each day. I can put as many tasks as I want. I can even do some journaling, some diary keeping if I want to for a day or not. Like if something special happened or not, I can log that in here. And I just found that this way of planning is more flexible and more suitable for me at the moment. Setting up daily log spreads is super easy because you don't need any layout at all. And for decoration, I just put in a Junimo hut where these little creatures, these little magical creatures that are like multicolored Smarties and super cute, they live in these huts. In the game, you can build these huts. It's quite expensive, but at some point you will achieve it, and they will help you harvest crops that are ready to harvest. So I surrounded the hut with a bunch of finished crops and dispersed the Junimos, the happy, celebrating, cute little Junimos all over the spread, and that's it. That's my daily logging spread with a bunch of free space to write in. This will all be filled out in the end, and whenever I need, I will just start a new page and add some more stickers, some more decoration, fairly minimal, and that's how I go forward. And this is a full glance on my Stardew Valley fall setup. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I wish you all a spooky fall.